Hello, hello, hello. Jordan Sheridan live for you on a Thursday, February 7th, 2018. Hope you're doing well. I am a little under the weather, so I don't know how long I'll go, but I will try to go as long as I can. I don't know why, I'm just not feeling great today. Kind of tired, run down. I see that YouTube is also not feeling great because it seems that every time we pass a new threshold, we just passed 27,000 subscribers. Every time we pass a new threshold, it seems that YouTube throttles our channel more. Isn't that interesting? So we just passed 27,000, but live viewership is down. Let me give you a little bit of a secret. The way digital media works and internet works is that when you grow the number of subscribers to a page, the views and the live views are supposed to go up with that. But somehow on Status Quo's channel and other channels like it, the more you grow, the worse your live viewership gets. So it's kind of odd. It's almost like there is a button, a live button in YouTube headquarters, and they have a list of a few channels, and they turn that button on and off when they feel like it to suppress their channels even more. Very interesting. But we go forward anyway. So a lot of things going on in the news today. Obviously, you have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez basically pushing the Green New Deal, which is now out and available in legislation form. So that's exciting. You have Nancy Pelosi proving why she is basically a Republican and why she shouldn't have been Speaker of the House. We'll get to that. You also have CNN pushing Howard Schultz and trying desperately to get people excited about Howard Schultz, giving Howard Schultz a 1-hour infomercial, or town hall, shall I say. Excuse me. My phone was on while I'm live. So we're going to get to all that. Remember your checklist. Smash the like button, especially when we're getting suppressed here on YouTube. So make sure you press the like button. The more people that like the live stream, the more people that will see the live stream. You can become a member of Status Quo. We're trying to grow our membership. I'll get to that in a little bit. You could follow us on Twitter at Status Quo and at Jordan Sheridan. Subscribe to our podcast. I'm actually going to put the link in here because this is, that's not the link to the podcast. This is the link to the podcast. So I'm going to put our podcast link on iTunes in there. Let me show you what that looks like. So we're trying to, grow and get higher on iTunes. So all of my interviews with, from Jill Stein to Matt Taibbi to Jimmy Dore, all the interviews that I've been doing are available now on podcast. So you could look at the page. The way we're going to grow our podcast is if each one of you goes in, rates it 5 stars, and leave a customer review. So I really haven't been pushing this because I'm kind of doing 25 things at once, but we definitely want to grow on our podcast. So there's the iTunes link. If you are so kind, check it out. Rate us 5 stars, leave a review, what you think of our content, our interviews, what we cover, and that will help us in growing. Also, go spread it to your friends, to your family, all that good stuff. Podcasts is definitely a way we will grow our revenue. I'll put that in there a little bit later too. And join our email list, statusquo.com. You'll get a little pop-up to put in your email. This is how we're going to grow. I just sent that an email a little bit earlier on tying my road trip coming up. So I hope whatever bug I have today goes away because I'm a little run down today. So Nancy Pelosi. And make sure you press the like button and make sure you share this. As you can see, we are getting suppressed like nobody's fucking business on YouTube. We passed 27,000 subscribers. You would think, oh, The viewership goes up. Not if no one knows you're live. Not if nobody gets a notification. Not if people are being manually unsubscribed. Not if people aren't even getting the videos in their feed. It's a little disheartening. It's a little disheartening. But Nancy Pelosi apparently wasn't serious when she was placating Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez about considering the Green New Deal. So first, let's start with the Green New Deal. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in the House and working with Senator Ed Markey in the Senate produced and launched the Green New Deal legislation. On Thursday, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senators Ed Markey unveiled a landmark resolution cementing the pillars of an unprecedented program to zero out planet-warming emissions and restore the middle-class prosperity of post-war America that the original New Deal helped spur. Just 3 months after calls for a Green New Deal electrified a long stagnant debate on the climate policy, the Democratic lawmakers released the six-page document outlining plans to cut global emissions 40 to 60% below 2010 levels by 2030 and to neutralize human-caused greenhouse gases entirely by 2050. So pretty damn ambitious. Quote, "Today is a big day for workers in Appalachia," Ocasio-Cortez said Thursday at a press conference in Washington, D.C. "Today is a good day for children who have been breathing dirty air in the Bronx and Flint and East Chicago and everywhere. It's an ambitious, if measured, clarion call for action that, if accomplished, would transform the United States into the leader in decarbonizing and clear a path forward for the world to avert catastrophic warming. The joint resolution stakes out a 10-year national mobilization plan to build smart grids and rapidly increase the share of American power generated from solar and wind from 10% today to as close to 100% as possible over the next decade. The plan reframes tired talk of repairing the nation's crumbling bridges, highways, and posts as a crisis in the new era of billion-dollar storms. It gets local, demanding upgrades to all existing U.S. buildings to achieve maximum efficiency with energy and water use. That holistic framing extends to the way the document describes emissions, mentioning carbon just once and instead using the term greenhouse gases, which includes methane, nitrous oxide, and ozone. Energy and infrastructure issues are the centerpiece of the resolution, with explicit goals of overhauling the transportation sector, the country's biggest source of climate pollution, to expand public transit and high-speed rail, and to spur a, quote, clean manufacturing boom with a particular focus on electric vehicles. But unlike most existing Green New Deal concepts, food and water are focal points. The resolution proposes building a more sustainable food system that ensures universal access to healthy food and, quote, guaranteeing universal access to clean water. To meet those goals, the document describes, quote, working collaboratively with farmers and ranchers to reduce agricultural pollution with, quote, sustainable farming and land use practices that increase soil health and supporting family farming. Unabashedly progressive ideals anchor the resolution. A section outlining guidelines for future Green New Deal bills reads like a laundry list of populist policies, including everything from ramped-up antitrust enforcement, quote, ensuring a commercial environment where every business person is free from unfair competition and domination by monopolies, to a vastly expanded social safety net, providing all people of the United States high-quality health care, affordable, safe, and adequate housing, economic security, and access to clean water, air, and healthy and affordable food and nature. Yet the resolution seems designed for broad appeal. The fact that Markey, a liberal stalwart who co-authored the last major climate bill Democrats tried to pass in 2009, is the lead Senate sponsor shows the insurgent Ocasio-Cortez wing is building bridges with the old guard. The resolution itself avoids controversial technologies to remove greenhouse gases from the atmosphere, instead calling for low-tech solutions such as large-scale preservation and planting new forests to absorb carbon already in the atmosphere. In a news release, Ocasio-Cortez's team said carbon capture, quote, technology to date has not proven effective. The resolution contains more obvious compromises. In a departure from the initial protests that gave rise to the Green New Deal, the document avoids explicitly calling for ending fossil fuel development. It leaves open the possibility of keeping existing nuclear power plants in place until after the initial 10-year mobilization plan is complete, admitting that, quote, "We are currently unsure if we'll be able to decommission every nuclear plant that fast." Quote, "The resolution is silent on any individual technology which could remove us towards a solution on this problem," Markey said at the press conference. "This is a resolution that does not have individual prescriptions in it. We are open to whatever works." So I'll put the link here if you want to read this in the live chat. I think it's a very, very good start. I don't know if it's ambitious as the Green New Deal originally authored by the Green Party, but it's certainly a major, major step in the right direction. I don't like that it doesn't call for an immediate ban on fracking and things like that. Maybe it does, and I just didn't read that. But from my quick research on this, it did not call for a ban on fracking, which is one of the most problematic things attributed to climate change, even though my favorite troll, Jerry Ross, who I think works for the oil industry, Jerry's here in the live chat, he is not a fan of anything that could help with climate change, pollution, dirty water, dirty air. Not a fan of that. He probably won't be around for the doomsday scenario. So this was a positive thing. I mean, she's only been in Congress for a month, and she's already putting forth big scale legislation along with Senator Ed Markey. I think that's a positive step. She's not sitting there, just tweeting. She's putting forward real legislation. So Nancy Pelosi, you would think on the day that one of her freshman star, widely popular congresswomen, who, by the way, the Green New Deal is polling at 81% support. 81% support. So that means it's not going to go anywhere, because the more American citizens support something, the more Congress says, fuck you. Because we don't live in a democracy. We live in the United Corporations of America. And folks, remember, we are being suppressed on YouTube big time. We got 53 people watching. Channel has 27,000 subscribers. So make sure you share this. Make sure you like the like button. Get it out to as many people as you possible, because we obviously want to get this to our subscribers. Unfortunately, I don't really think everybody knows that we're live right now, looking at the number of viewership. So what's very interesting about this is you would think Nancy Pelosi would have AOC's back today. You would be thinking wrong. You would be thinking wrong. Nancy Pelosi, quoted in Politico, "Pelosi's efforts have paid off with Ocasio-Cortez, especially. The freshman superstar told NPR on Wednesday that Pelosi has, quote, done a really good job so far, even as Pelosi has sidestepped one of the left's priorities, a Green New Deal." So Ocasio-Cortez says Pelosi has done a very good job so far. I'm not particularly clear what she's talking about, but okay. Progressives had demanded a special climate change panel tasked with specifically with drafting legislation to end the nation's reliance on fossil fuels in just over a decade and transform the economy. The California Democrat did agree to launch a select committee on climate change, similar to the one she created back in 2007 when she was first speaker. Pelosi said Wednesday, however, the panel would not be tasked with writing a specific bill, and brushed off the idea of the Green New Deal as a suggestion. Quote, "It will be one of several, or maybe many suggestions that we receive," Pelosi said. "The Green Dream, or whatever they call it. Nobody knows what it is, but they're for it, right?" Let me repeat that for you. "It will be one of several, or maybe many suggestions that we receive," Pelosi said. "The Green Dream, or whatever they call it. Nobody knows what it is, but they're for it, right?" Yeah, just vote for the Democrats. We got to take on Trump. Vote for the Democrats. Nancy Pelosi, she'll work, if you work with her, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she might surprise you. And, vote blue, no matter who. And blue wave and all that good stuff. So you have, on one hand, a president of the United States who has expanded offshore drilling, who has expanded fracking beyond belief, that is repealing clean water regulations, that is repealing regulations on putting a cap on carbon emissions, fuel efficiency standards. I mean, Donald Trump is a human wrecking ball when it comes to the climate, when it comes to the environment, when it comes to climate change. So how do you take out somebody like Donald Trump? By basically dismissing bold environmental legislation, by basically mocking the Green New Deal. Oh, a Green New Deal, the Green New Dream. Oh, that suggestion, whatever they call it. Well, we don't really know what it does, but, you know, a Green New Dream. And I got to be honest with you. If I'm keeping it real. I think Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, has done some great things so far. But I don't know what she was thinking because she's been playing nice with Speaker Pelosi. Speaker Pelosi is not your friend, Congresswoman. Speaker Pelosi is not any of our friends because she might sound nicer than Donald Trump on social issues, just rhetorically, but she was up there clapping during the State of the Union when Trump put out, oh, we're the biggest foreign oil exporter now. Well, Nancy Pelosi was clapping along with the rest of the Democratic Party. By the way, foreign exporters, meaning this is not for energy independence. It's all a con. All of these pipelines, all of this fracking and pipelines, it's not for energy independence. This is all being sent to China, Mexico, Poland, and many other countries. We're not using it. So Ocasio-Cortez and other progressives that are trying to be diplomatic and, you know, give the speaker room, well, as far as I know, this little committee Pelosi set up doesn't have subpoena power. She just said is not going to be actually putting forth a bill. There's no limit on representatives of this committee taking fossil fuel money. And now you have Pelosi basically laughing at you. I mean, what do you think? Who do you think this statement is telegraphed to? It will be one of several or maybe many suggestions that we receive. The Green Dream or whatever they call it. Nobody knows what it is, but they're for it. What do you think that? Who do you think that's telegraphed to? She's talking to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's talking to progressives and saying, "Oh, you little protesters who protested outside my office. Oh, you're so cute. You're so cute with your signs. You're so cute with your concern for the planet. Oh boy, you don't know how Washington works." And what does Nancy Pelosi care, really? You know, she's not going to be around. She's not going to be around when the rubber meets the road. She's not going to be around for the massive droughts, even worse, billion-dollar calamity storms that we've been seeing. Forest fires from the east to the west. What does Nancy Pelosi care? What does the Democratic Party care? They don't care. It's about the money, Lebowski. They don't want to stop fossil fuel production because the Democratic Party takes fossil fuel money. Because the Democratic Party takes Wall Street money. And Wall Street heavily invested in pipelines. Wall Street heavily invested in fracking. Wall Street heavily invested in mining, in coal mining, in uranium mining. You name it, Wall Street's invested in it. Kyle, Pelosi is the Trump of the Democrats. Well, she sure sounds nicer than Trump. But on policy, and don't get me wrong, Trump is the president. So he's been a lot more damaging to the environment than Nancy Pelosi. But Nancy Pelosi has the opportunity here to elevate somebody like Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, to elevate a Green New Deal, which is both very good for our economy. It goes hand in hand with all the layoffs we've seen in middle America, giving those people jobs, good paying jobs. But Nancy Pelosi mocks it as a dream. Well, Nancy Pelosi, I believe, has a whole litter of grandkids. Does she care if they live? Or is it just her donors? You know, maybe they're going to create a whole separate biodome for their wealthy donors so that when the climate when the climate Armageddon comes, which some say is over the next decade or two, they'll be protected. I mean, it's unbelievable, the arrogance and the tone deafness. This committee that Nancy Pelosi is putting forward is a committee for show. It's a joke. They're not going to do anything. They're worried about the more urgent threat. Russian trolls. You know, if Trump knew about a meeting with a Russian attorney, shit that in 10 years nobody's going to care about. But you know, in 10 years, what we are going to have to worry about? Not whether Trump worked with the Russian government or if Russian trolls influenced our election. We're going to have to worry about, do we have enough water? Can we go outside longer than an hour a day in the summer? Will there be more polar vortexes, which since Trump doesn't understand the difference between weather and climate, the polar vortex and these Arctic temperatures, where they're not usually Arctic, is coming from climate change and global warming. Sorry, Jerry, that's the truth. So I applaud Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez's Green New Deal legislation, but I hope Nancy Pelosi's dismissive attitude and arrogance finally, you know, wakes her and progressives up that have been playing nice with Nancy Pelosi. You don't play nice with Nancy Pelosi. The Democratic Party establishment is just as corrupt, just as mafioso as the Republican Party. They just sound nicer. So, what do you think? Is it time to, you know, sit and negotiate and play kumbaya with Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer and Dick Durbin and all of these old, out-of-touch people who look down at people like from the Sunrise Movement or climate activists or protesters as, oh, God, those progressives and their ideas, those progressives and their suggestions, their Green New Dream? Or is it time to figuratively, burn the fucking house down? Brian, Jordan, we need a massive yellow vest movement to fight for a Green New Deal, to Medicare for all, and if we want to save our planet. Brian, you haven't been watching me long enough. I agree, but we need a green vest movement. A green vest movement. What are we against? Greed. What are we for? Green New Deal. That's why we need a green vest movement, but I agree. D-Doc, $5 in a super chat. Thank you. This is a super chat. If you are feeling so kind. I missed it. Was Nancy clapping during Trump's comments on socialism too? That I don't believe she was clapping. She certainly was clapping for us launching an illegal coup d'etat of the Venezuelan government. She certainly was clapping when Trump said we are now the largest foreign oil exporter. She's clapping for those things. Man, you know what would be amazing? You know, I had fun and all with Donna Brazile. I'd have a lot more fun journalistically questioning Nancy Pelosi. I really would. Oh, God, what I would do if I could get a couple minutes with Nancy Pelosi. I don't even know if she'd be prepared for actual journalistic questioning. I really don't. Because when you see NBC, Washington Post, New York Times, all these outlets question Nancy Pelosi, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. They might as well be kissing and, playing patty cakes. But Nancy Pelosi doesn't care about the climate. I mean, she's from California. She don't care. She don't care about the wildfires in California. She doesn't care about drought. She doesn't care about the extreme temperatures. What does she care? But this is what I'm saying. As great as Ocasio-Cortez being elected, as great as the new progressives have been elected, you can't go in there listening to your consultants or your advisors and saying, well, let's try and be diplomatic. Let's try and negotiate. Let's try and compromise. No, that's not what you're there for. You are dealing with corrupt corporate cronies. I mean, that's what Nancy Pelosi is. She's a corrupt corporate crony, okay? Heavily invested from Wall Street. And Wall Street does not want a Green New Deal. Wall Street does not want Medicare for all. So what exactly, you know, when this political article says Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is saying Pelosi's done a great job so far, what exactly has she done that you're so encouraged by? The fact that she sent one of her top aides to go speak with Blue Cross Blue Shield and tell them, oh, don't worry, the Medicare for all thing, that's not happening. Don't worry about that. Or cheering for a Venezuelan coup, or not proposing any government jobs programs. I haven't heard her loud or saying the Democratic Party wants to do something on General Motors layoffs, which I'm about to get to. So, you know, you put forth this legislation, but you can't just fight Trump and the Republicans. You got to fight your own party and fight like they're just as bad as Republicans, because they are. Nancy Pelosi is stomping on and stifling, forget a Green New Deal, any serious effort to curb emissions, to stop fracking. Sway Ocean, the Green New Deal will hurt the environment more than doing nothing. Not kidding, science. I don't know where you get that from. Don't know if I agree with that. But if you're expecting Nancy Pelosi to actually follow through on whatever backroom promises she made you, whether it's AOC or other progressives, well, here's your answer. That's just a dream. That's just a dream. So we need to do a lot more for the environment, but 100% renewals in 10 years is death. Well, what do you want it? You want it to be in 10 minutes? I mean, you got to be realistic too. So, I mean, I'll update you as we get more information on this, but I think Nancy Pelosi has basically shot the first, fired the first bullet in the war with Ocasio-Cortez and progressives. And I hope Ocasio-Cortez, I hope other progressives respond forcefully to her. And her basically laughing at them, calling it, oh, a Green New Dream. A Green New Dream. You see that, Steve? 62 watching, 77 likes. Yeah, isn't it interesting when algorithms by a company like YouTube are intentionally suppressing channels? Because technically speaking, if 77 people like something or 78 people like, you should probably have more than 61 viewers. But unfortunately, with YouTube, they like to suppress progressive outlets. They like to suppress non-corporate outlets. CNN, MSNBC's channels getting 1 million views for videos that used to get, 5. But this is the world we live in. This is the digital media environment we live in. Very, very terrible. Very, very terrible. So, before I get to the next topic, want to remind you, Ty and I are hitting the road. We're going this weekend. We're going to Detroit, going to Cleveland, wherever else the wind takes us. So, we're going to be covering the General Motors layoffs, which I'm about to do a story on now. General Motors announced that they're laying off 15,000 people at the end of last year. Those layoffs are beginning next week. So people are getting their pink slips at General Motors after General Motors got a $51 billion bailout from the federal government a few years ago. So what do you get for that? Controlled demolition of the middle class. We'll just lay off the workers after we got free money from the government. That's how it works. There's a major lead problem in Cleveland that no one's talking about, so Status Quo is going to talk about it. Detroit's water fountains in public schools were shut off last year. Again, no media coverage on that. So if you're not a member, consider becoming a member of Status Quo. You could become a member as low as $5 a month. This is how we grow. This is how long-term we're going to support in the field reporting. We also have a very, very ambitious goal, for this reporting trip. We want to hit $50,000. $50,000 $50,000 in our GoFundMe. So right now, not close to that. We're at 41,755. But I did the math. If we could get 2,000 people to donate $4 each, we will just that's right under $50,000. I'll split the difference. I'll pay for the rest. So if we can get 2,000 people to donate $4 each, we will hit 50,000. So that's our goal for this road trip. We're heading out this weekend. We're going to be there next week. I've been spending most of this week trying to line up interviews. Not always easy before you get somewhere to line people up. It's usually kind of, you try to set up some things before you go, but you usually just have to go and start working different angles to meet people and interview people. But this is why Status Quo exists. This is why you've been supporting the GoFundMe, because we are going to go out and cover real news. We're going to go out and covering the controlled demolition of the American middle class by companies like General Motors, who are buy off the politicians, which I'm going to get to in a minute. And we're going to actually make this the abnormal, immoral crisis that it actually is. So if you could throw in support, we know a lot of people have already donated to the GoFundMe. So if you're tapped out, we totally understand. If you're not tapped out, every single amount counts. $5, $10, $15, $20. This is how we're going to support not only trips like this, but we're trying to grow that GoFundMe so that we have more money to cover the upcoming campaign. We definitely need more funding to cover the campaign. I'm talking Bernie. I'm talking to Tulsi Gabbard, who tweeted out my tweet last night. I was very excited. Thank you, Tulsi. So we need more money. So hopefully, if you don't mind, drop it in the GoFundMe. Here's the link. And we'll be pushing it out and promoting GoFundMe and other things while we're on the road. And Ty and I have a long drive from New York to Ohio and Michigan, so I'm sure we'll go live on the road, do a little Q&A with you, all those good things. But this is what, there's a lot of outlets out there that like to pretend that they're progressive, and they like to ask people to send in money. They like to ask people to, pay whatever per month. And what do you get? You get 24 videos on Trump today, 25 videos on Russia for the week. Do you get any original reporting? You get any reporting on, tens of thousands of people getting laid off so a company could continue gorging profits and going to manufacture in Mexico and China? You get any, reporting on, children having crazy levels of lead in this country? You get any reporting on water being shut off in Detroit and other places? Nope. Kerry Quinn. Dude, it didn't even say you were live till I did a search. Didn't have the live symbol by the name under my subscriptions. Yep. Welcome to my life, Kerry. We have 27,000 subscribers now. But for some reason, nobody knows when we're live. For some reason, like you just said, it's not even highlighted as live when we're live. You think it's odd that we have 27,000 subscribers and only 46 people watching? Love you, the 46. And by the way, we've got 102 likes and only 46 people watching. Anybody see a problem with suppression? So here's what I suggest. Let me find them. Team, I say everybody should reach out to Team YouTube. Team YouTube on Twitter. I don't know if it will be effective, but why don't you do me a favor? Reach out to Team YouTube and tell them, hey, why is it that I'm subscribed to this channel, but I never get notifications? Why is it that I'm subscribed to this channel, yet it doesn't even show up as Kerry said, it didn't even say you were live. Didn't have the live symbol. Why is it that there's 110 likes on this video and only 51 people watching? Brian, Jordan, if I weren't vigilant, I would never know you or any journalist I watch posted a video or were live. Yep. And YouTube, they send these copied and paste. YouTube doesn't even respond to my emails anymore because I've sent so many emails because they're screwing us. They're totally screwing us. And it's very, very frustrating because I work really, really hard. We work long days and every day pretty much. So it's one thing if viewership is down because like the content's not good, but humbly as I could say it, I think we have good content. I think we have unique content. And it's very odd that you go from like 300 something viewers most of the time to 45. I love you, the 45 watching, but it's not right. It's censorship. So what are you going to do? But I definitely recommend there's the act, Team YouTube. Let YouTube know what you think about this suppression. Because that's what it is. They are suppressing the holy hell out of this channel. And it is very, very frustrating. Yeah, 114 likes and 45 viewers. It's absurd. Absolutely absurd. Henry, I'm not even subscribed, but I'm here. Well, Henry, you should be subscribed, first of all. But thank you. So, like I said, we're going to be hitting the road. Definitely, if you can, drop some dough in the GoFundMe. So, the story that we're going on the road for, cover these General Motors layoffs, which to me is the definition of the disappearing middle class and the controlled demolition of the middle class. So General Motors has to lay off 15,000 people after getting a $55 billion bailout many years ago from the federal government. Only in America, you give a company $55 billion and then they lay off 15,000 people years later because there's no strings attached with the bailout. And by the way, I mean, shockingly, here's the list. Democrat Debbie Stabenow, Senator from Michigan, she got $20,400 from General Motors in 2012. She just got $29,540 from General Motors in 2018 for her re-election. You got Debbie Dingell, a congresswoman from Michigan. 2014, she got $17,600 from General Motors. 2016, she got $10,500. 2018, she got $10,000. Got Dan Kildee, represents Flint. 2014, $9,000 from General Motors. 2016, $9,125. 2018, $10,425. Then we go to Tim Ryan of Ohio, where another factory is being closed down of General Motors. 2014, he got $9,000. 2016, he got $8,500. 2018, he got $7,020. Beto O'Rourke in 2018 got $13,232 from General Motors. Hillary Clinton during the 2016 election, $86,616. 2016, Bernie Sanders, $32,819. Chuck Schumer in 2016 got 10,000 buckos. 10,000 buckos. So, our politicians are getting quite a lot of money. Oh, excuse me. It's not directly from General Motors. It's from individuals working at General Motors. But do you really think the hard-working auto workers at General Motors are so inspired by these Democratic politicians that they're flooding their campaigns with money? No. It's the executives and the business types at General Motors who are funding these campaigns. So, how much money did General Motors make last year? They probably didn't make anything if they're laying off all these workers, right? General Motors relied on its profit-rich pickups to drive $2.8 billion in pre-tax earnings in the fourth quarter of 2018, as it spent about $1.3 billion on restructuring moves that are expected to ramp up this year. The automaker reported a pre-tax profit margin of 8% on $11.8 billion of pre-tax profit. After taxes, the automaker made $8.1 billion. On $147 billion in revenue. A company that just made $8.1 billion in profits is laying off 15,000 workers in North America. Let that sink in. 8.1 after taxes, and you're laying off 15,000 workers. And by the way, you're not just harming those workers, you're harming the teachers in those communities, you're harming the small business owners in those communities. General Motors and the employment that they provide are, affects small businesses who are not going to have customers because the employees are getting laid off. It affects the teachers whose students have parents that work for General Motors. It affects every part of a community. Yet General Motors, no strings attached. They get $55 billion in bailouts. They could lay people off so they could gorge profits. They say it's because, people aren't buying smaller sedans anymore, so we have to get rid of those cars, and we're moving towards electric and all that. Well, obviously, General Motors could find a way to utilize these workers to transition towards whatever new products they want to make. But they're making a choice to cut the fat because workers are not human beings, and General Motors doesn't look at themselves as an actual corporate citizen. It's a soulless, corrupt company. I want to play you this clip from I believe it's the World Socialist website, but I thought it was very powerful. This was them in front of General Motors the other day. I believe it's the World Socialist website.
My name is Larry Porter. I'm the former Chrysler worker, auto worker, and the Assistant National Secretary of the Socialist Equality Party in the United States. We are supporting the fight of auto workers and the formation of rank-and-file committees to oppose the job cuts and the difficult industrial and economic conditions that have been imposed on workers by the big three automakers and their suppliers. As any worker working in the auto plants know, and they rebelled against it by voting down the last contract, the automakers are making incredibly high profits from cheap labor. You now have 4 and 5 tiers of workers in any plant, with many temporary workers making poverty wages from a little over the minimum wage, doing the same work as the higher tier workers at $28 an hour. All of it agreed to by the unions. There's a changed mood of anger and rebellion in the U.S. and internationally. Workers and young people are looking for a way to fight against corporations and the policies of the government, which have created these conditions. With me is Jerry White, the editor of the World Socialist website Auto Newsletter, that is co-sponsoring the demonstration to be held at this location this coming Saturday, February 9th at 2 p.m. Jerry will explain the purpose and the aims of the protest. I simply ask that you hold your questions until after he finishes. Jerry?
Thank you. Thank you, Larry. This Saturday, February 9th at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, the steering committee of the Coalition of Rank-and-File Committees will hold a demonstration right here in front of General Motors World Headquarters to mobilize working-class opposition to the massive job cuts announced by GM, Ford, and other automakers. The jobs bloodbath was initiated yesterday when GM began laying off over 4,000 engineers, technicians, and other white-collar workers. It also emerged that Ford will eliminate the second shift at the Flat Rock assembly plant, wiping out 1,000 hourly workers' jobs by April the 1st. Each one of these layoffs will be a personal tragedy, and the 15,000 job cuts announced by General Motors will be multiplied many times over when related industries are hit. This will have a devastating impact on workers' families and their communities in Detroit, in Lordstown, Ohio, Oshawa, Ontario, and many other areas. Look what deindustrialization has already done to cities like Flint and Dayton, Ohio, where GM has left nothing behind except economic, social, and environmental catastrophe. A new round of closures will mean more home foreclosures, more opioid deaths and suicides, and more schools and social services starved of funding. This is being done for one purpose and one purpose only: to boost the profits of General Motors and further enrich its wealthy shareholders through dividend payments and stock buybacks. Tomorrow, as thousands of white-collar workers continue to be laid off, General Motors will announce its 2018 profits, which will show billions and billions more. In 1979, during the first Chrysler bailout, the United Auto Workers told workers that concessions would save their jobs. That set into motion 4 decades of endless concessions and givebacks that have never saved a single job. In 2009, the UAW again accepted sweeping concessions, including halving the wages of all new hired workers. An organization like the UAW that accepts bribes from management, that has millions of dollars in GM stock, will do nothing to defend the jobs and livelihoods of workers. That is why the steering committee of the coalition of rank-and-file committees called the February 9th demonstration. It is not to beg GM, but to begin the mobilization of the working class in this city, across the U.S., and internationally to defend jobs and living standards. This initiative is being supported by the Socialist Equality Party and the World Socialist website Auto Worker Newsletter. All across the world, social anger against inequality is rising. As U.S. and Canadian workers are fighting GM and Ford, tens of thousands of Mexican sweatshop maquiladora workers are engaged in a courageous strike against the auto companies that feed the big three. 70,000 workers have set up their own independent strike committees to demand substantial wage increases. Now, we oppose the anti-Mexican campaign by the UAW and Unifor and call for the unity of all U.S., Canadian, and Mexican workers and workers throughout the world to defend the right to jobs. The coalition of rank-and-file committees is determined that auto workers, whether they are white-collar or blue-collar, will not be the forgotten men and women of the 21st century. All of these workers belong to the bottom 90% of the world's population that produces the world's wealth, yet has no say-so over how it is distributed.
So that is, I believe, the World Socialist website. And wow. Let's see how many viewers we have now. Is that for real? Wow. 6 viewers. We have 6 viewers, but somehow a couple dozen in the chat. Isn't that interesting? I'm going to take screenshots of this. Hold on. I mean, it's insane. It's like, why even bother going live? It's such a joke. YouTube might be spamming the stream. They might. And yeah, when you have 145 likes, 145 likes and 5 people watching. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Maybe I'll just have to report, do the old school, send smoke signals out to you folks. Very interesting. This is why I say Team YouTube, at Team YouTube. Start tweeting them, show screenshots of this, tell them you're not getting notifications, show them the 151 likes to 5 viewer ratio. I mean, it's insane. pathetic, YouTube. And this is a good plug. GoFundMe. Support me and Ty as we hit the road this weekend. We're trying to get to $50,000. Right now, we are at $41,000. Whoa! Somebody just gave big money. So even though YouTube's suppressing us, somebody just got us to almost on the brink of 42,000. Thank you, Zach Ingham. $200 in the GoFundMe. Can we get that $40 to tell YouTube to go screw themselves? $40 to $40 gets us to. You know what? I gotta call somebody here. Hi, this is Jordan. I'm live. Hello.
Hey.
You know what's super interesting, man?
What happened?
We're live. I literally have a live chat of about, I'd probably guess like a couple dozen people. Guess how many people it says are watching?
How many?
5.
5 people?
Yeah.
On live?
Yeah, but if you go actually into the live chat, it's humming along with all these different types of people. But it says 1 person watching, now 4 people watching.
Are you just going live right now?
No, I've been live for like 45 minutes.
I thought I saw it. Wait.
It's got 157 likes. 157 likes. Oh, now 1 watching. Soon we're going to be getting into the negatives.
Wow, that's crazy. I see it. 157.
I think there's some serious corporate censorship going on.
That's weird as hell.
Oh, here we go with Ty's apologies. He's already giving YouTube the benefit of the doubt, this man.
I just said that's weird as hell. What do you want me to say?
Weird implies it's an odd abnormality instead of a huge...
Conspiracy?
It's a conspiracy.
Okay. Well, would that make you feel better if I say conspiracy?
Yeah, I think it's... And it's funny because Ty...
It is hella weird. I mean, you can look at the messages and see.
Ty texted me, he was like, I'm going live after you. I'm like, at this rate, if you want to go live to minus 20, go ahead. It's crazy.
That is crazy, dog. Hey, I was just going back and forth with a lady that was just on CNN, and she said that she would do an interview with me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like her response to Brooke asking about how so many people now. You got the Secretary of State that was in blackface as well, mimicking a Hurricane Katrina victim, and he came out, and so she.
Wait a minute. The Mike Pompeo or the Virginia Secretary of State?
Oh, Virginia Secretary of State.
Oh, okay.
Virginia.
Haley, start that hashtag. Free Jordan. Yes.
And she was saying everything except what she should have been saying. And why does these things keep coming up? Why is it coming up? Because there's no appreciation for American history. When you don't write the correct history, people don't understand the significance and how deep it runs. So it becomes okay. They start in a really racist state that tries to get over racism, start to compartmentalize what they feel is racist. And yeah, maybe
wait. Hold your fire if you're going live. Don't say it all now.
Okay.
All right. I just wanted to call you and tell you of this suppression thing.
That's crazy, dog. That's weird as hell.
Yeah. It's terrible. All right. I'll call you back. So, wait. Somebody just said something that was really funny. Quit bashing YouTube, bro. The CIA, David says. Seriously, man. I mean, what else can you call this? It's absurd. Absolutely absurd. I mean, either YouTube has a real defect or there is a, what's the opposite of Free Jordan? Hi, Jordan? I think we need to use the hashtag Free Jordan. Let's see if we can get that trending. Free status quo. I mean, I noticed when I went live today, I'm like, wait a minute. Only 23 people watching? And then it got up to like 40, and now it's going down consistently. Boofire, you aren't even showing up on my feed or in my notifications. Let me save that. I'm sending this all to YouTube. Retro Reeker, this is pure defect. This happens sometimes. Retro Reeker, I got a bridge to sell you if you think this is just some defect. James V. Thicell. YouTube connected me to your live stream from yesterday instead of today's live stream. Interesting. So, I'll deal with YouTube later. But getting back to this, so you have General Motors, who bought off all the politicians, laying off 15,000 people in the Midwest, and then you wonder why the Midwest would vote for an animal clown like Donald Trump. Then you wonder why people like Donald Trump, a fake populist, is attractive to people having their jobs sent to China, Mexico, Poland, or wherever it's going. GM, $8 billion in profits last year. $8 billion in profits. So, what's the first thing to do? Lay off 15,000 people. A little bit more of this.
Every worker has a great stake in fighting these plant closings and mass layoffs. We reject that General Motors has the right to close these plants and impoverish the workers who made their profits. We insist that the right of the working class to a secure and good-paying job must come first. And we are confident that the power of the working class, united and acting on its own independent initiative, can stop these plants from closing. On Saturday, we will be assembling right here in front of GM headquarters. All workers, retirees, and young people, the unemployed, are welcome to participate. Bring delegations from your factories and workplaces, schools, and communities to make your voices heard. To get involved and get more information, go to wsws.org/auto. Thank you very much. And I'm more than welcome to take any of your questions.
So then you don't believe the UAW is doing the right thing?
Well, the UAW has a four-decade record of boosting the profits of the corporations in the name of supposedly saving jobs. And in that period, since 1978, the number of jobs in the Big Three have fallen from 750,000 to 150,000. So we have no belief that the UAW, which, as I said, owns General Motors stock, actually, the stock of General Motors increased the day they announced the shutdowns, and the assets of the UAW increased. So this initiative is being taken by rank and file workers themselves. The steering committee of the Coalition of Rank and File Committees was founded here in Detroit on December 9th. It includes rank and file auto workers from Indiana, Ohio, Michigan. It includes teachers, Amazon workers, and others. And we are fighting. We see this demonstration as the beginning of a very powerful counteroffensive by working class people.
What would you guys do as far as your mobilization?
Well, auto workers are posting up inside the factories. Young people at Wayne State and Ann Arbor involved in are campaigning for this. There's a very aggressive campaign on social media, and above all.
So there you have the socialists doing what the Democratic Party should be doing right now, standing up for workers, standing up for the workers being tossed out like hot garbage by the corporations that are taking your money. Because who paid for General Motors bailout? Tell me, who paid for that? Certainly wasn't the billionaires. Certainly wasn't the billionaires who paid for General Motors bailout. It's disgusting. The whole thing is disgusting. So even though I I'm excited to go on the road and cover this. I'm not excited for people losing their jobs, but it's not just like there's no reason for these layoffs. They're giving these talking points. Oh, you know, people aren't buying the sedans anymore, so we're just not selling them, so we have to get rid of these workers. But in the same breath, you know, we're shifting to more electric cars. We're shifting to more automated vehicles. Well, why can't these workers work on those cars? Why can't you shift these workers to work on other cars or other developments within GM? That you can. They're trying to cut the fat because they need more money to their shareholders. They need more money for stock buybacks to drive up the share price, and they are greedy. Because in this country, corporations do not give a damn about their workers, and it's the workers who are creating that $8 billion profit, not the executives. So I'm pretty excited to get back on the road, cover this important story. Frankly, I don't see other outlets covering it. Whoa, 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 Kelly Elaine, you got it. $42,000. Thank you, Kelly, for getting us over that important threshold in status quo history. We are now at $42,000 and $42,170. So getting very, very, very even closer to our goal of $50,000 by the end of this road trip. Ty and I are going on the road this weekend. We'll probably be in Ohio and then Michigan all week. So we want to get to 50,000. So what is that? About 7,900. I can't do math. Under $8,000 to go to hit 5,000. Excuse me, to hit 50,000. And why we want to get to that 50,000 is because, hey, there's a campaign starting very soon. So we gotta increase our coffers. So we have the money to go cover Bernie, to go cover Tulsi. We'll cover Warren a little bit. Oh yes, we will go cover Kamala Harris and Cory Booker and Kirsten Gillibrand. Oh yes, we'll challenge their voters. You better believe it. Oh yes, if we can get up to them, we'll challenge them. We're not here to play softball. We're not here to play patty cake. We are going to expose corruption. We are going to expose the frauds for what they are. And we are going to expose the oligarchy. And we are going to give progressive voters and supporters, whether it's a Bernie, whether it's Tulsi, Warren, we are going to actually hand them the microphone and actually show them to the people. So, by my math, if every, let me see, 42,170, so 1,500 times 4 equals 1,700 times 4 equals 1,800 times 4 equals, I believe if 1,800 people donated $4 each, we'd get to that 50,000 lickety-split. Lickety-split. And by the way, we only have one person watching, so it's going to be a tough act to try and get up to 50,000 because we have no audience. Like right now, it shows 0 people are watching. 0. Unbelievable. So 0 people watching, but somehow we have all these people in the chat and the GoFundMe contributions. So thank you. And remember, if you're not a member, this is how we're going to grow in the long term. Consider becoming a member. Consider becoming a member as low as $5 a month. So I'm excited to hit the road again. I think I'm going to be live tomorrow again. We'll be live again, and then Ty and I are going to hit the road, but we will be doing live videos from the car. We got a long drive. I think first we're going to go to Detroit, cover some of the things there, and then we are going to go and cover other stories, including the lead crisis in Cleveland, including the water crisis in Detroit. If we have time, we're going to stop over in Flint again, get an update there. So we got a lot of things to cover, not a lot of time, but I'm excited. Definitely, if you can, become a member as low as $5 a month, statuscoup.com/join. Hopefully, if this is a bug in YouTube, it will be improved by tomorrow. I'd prefer not to go live to 2 people. But thank you so much to the people who donated to the GoFundMe today. Remember, GoFundMe never sleeps. We're trying to get to 50,000 by the end of this reporting trip. This money is so we could cover these kinds of stories, but also have more money to cover the campaign. Right now, we do not have the funding to cover the campaign. It's just flat out, we don't have enough funding for that. So thank you, Maddie Perry, who donated $27. Fadi donated $10. Kelly Elaine, $200. Zach, $200. Robert, $5. Can't thank you guys enough. Keep it coming in the GoFundMe. I will be back tomorrow, hopefully, with a normal viewership and more good stories. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.